You're welcome to today's edition of Opportunity Intelligence. It's nice to have you again. Amazing time it is. On Opportunity Intelligence today, I am so excited to be your host, and it's interesting to let you know that it's been a very beautiful year so far. In the midst of the crisis, we have been able to do great things because necessarily life is not a bed of roses. And even though crises are not global, even though crises are not national, one point or the other in our personal lives we have crises, and that does not stop us from being effective. That does not stop us from doing what we are supposed to do. We never took it as an excuse. We never took it for the reason why we should not do those things we ought to do. However, we were unable to do so much because everything did not depend on us. There are still some people that they felt like it's a license for them to take things for granted. It's a license for them not to do those things that are expected of them. But I'm glad that you are different from a lot of people. You are not among the crowd. You are a crown. You took initiative when it was least possible. When it was most difficult for anybody to do anything, you did something. And that is why I am so proud of you. This is Opportunity Intelligence, and it's only getting better. Today is the 38th edition of Opportunity Intelligence. We have been coming for the past 38 weeks. It's been amazing. It's been interesting. A lot of ups and downs, and we are still soaring. We are still roaring. It's getting better and better and better. Opportunity Intelligence is where you are made opportunity intelligent. You become the right person at the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. If you are unable to align these factors of opportunity, place, time, person, and things, you may not be able to do so much in life, because our life is an opportunity, and we need to maximize opportunity in life to be able to do well in life. Today I'm going to be taking us strongly on a topic: glory. That's the topic I'm going to be taking us today, glory. And I want you to be attentive, pay attention. That's the least you can pay on this session. It's free. But you have to pay attention. That's very, very important. Pay attention. Now, listen. When you look at life, do you see anything possible beyond your wildest dream? Do you see anything that will come in your name beyond your background, beyond your effort? I mean, something that you will know that you don't deserve. You see it happening in your life. You need to see it happening. And that's been the drive of Opportunity Intelligence. Opportunities are always bigger than us. But when we are aligned to the requirements of opportunity, it does not matter how big they are or how bigger they are than us. As long as we are at the right place at the right time, we become befitting for it. Have you read the story of David and Goliath? By all standards, David does not deserve to be the winner of that battle. David was smaller. David was less equipped. David was less experienced. David was not Goliath. David was just a shepherd boy with wilderness experience, not war experience, not battle experience, not fighting, with people experience. But David won that battle. David led the victory of the war. There was nothing in David's background that warranted that to happen, but it happened. Glory. Glory. Glory is the realization of your full self. The realization of your full self is what is called glory. The realization of your full self. There is a full maturity that you are supposed to attain. If you do not attain it, you are not termed to be glorious. You know, when people die, they say they have glorious exit. Truly, that is what is expected of all of us, that we should have glorious exit. You know, today I was checking through my diary and I found two, book titles. They already have an outline for, all the chapters clearly written, the aim and everything I want to achieve with the book. And it revived in me again the hope and the thoughts that brought about those titles. One of them is the richest man in the cemetery. As a matter of fact, we should go to the grave gloriously. When you have attained the fullness of your stature, the fullness of yourself, in achievement, in success, when you can say you have nothing else to do, you have fought a good fight, you have won the battle, then you deserve to go gloriously. Then it will not be a lie or a fable when it is written on your burial ceremony poster that it was a glorious exit. But today we know a lot of people do not have glorious exits. But for the ceremony, the religiosity of having to write it like that, we write them. A lot of things that are written on people's epitaph are not direct or exact picture of the life they led. They actually do not talk about who they are. But because of self-righteousness, because of certain level of righteousness, you feel like you should not talk bad about dead people. People are scared, like, okay, if you talk bad about dead people, they can come in the night and do you bad. Nobody wants to die. So they talk at least to the best of their capability. Very beautiful things about dead people. But the thing is, we deserve really to leave this world gloriously. We deserve truly to leave this world in glory. But hear it, listen to this. Do you know why a lot of people do not attain glory? You know why? Okay. Added to what you know, as a reason why people do not attain glory before they exit the terrestrial ball is this. Without discipline, there is no glory. As simple as it sounds, a lot of times people have been unable to do stuff not because stuff are not available, but they are not disciplined enough to just say a little more than others. They have not been disciplined enough to say, okay, others are going this way. No, I am not going to go this way. Because it is popular does not mean it is correct. Because it is what everybody is doing does not mean it is right. Listen. Why a lot of people will go to the grave with the gold in them is not because the gold is not in them, but because they are not disciplined enough to stay just a little more in the furnace for the gold to be refined. They could not be, patient enough to withstand the heat so that they will become the heat. Instead of them to plant their seed, they decided to eat their seed because of indiscipline of appetite. One of those questions I ask people when I'm doing, growth assessment for people is, when was the last time you fasted? Now, this is not a religious question. It's a spiritual question. It's a discipline question. It's a visionary question. It's a question that leaders will have positive answer to. Now, I'm not asking you the last time you starved yourself. I'm not asking the last time you felt like not eating and you did not eat. I'm asking you the last time you actually fasted. It's one of those parameters for a disciplined life. Fasting is actually doing away with things that you held dear. This thing you used to like it, right? But it got to a point after, re-examining your life. After evaluating certain constructs about your life, you realize that I need to stop doing this. You have been doing it not because it is actually bad, but it is not supporting you to yield the expected result. So when you stop doing that thing, maybe to gain concentration, maybe to gain more energy, maybe to become more focused, whatever way it is fasting. But when you don't, when you stop doing what you used to do, and you start doing something new to get a new result, that is fasting too. Maybe you don't know. But when you refuse to stop doing what you used to do and you want a new result, you are not fasting. So, what am I saying? I am only trying to paint to you the picture of discipline and what indiscipline can cost us. Indiscipline can cost us our glory. What is peculiar to you? And that thing is indiscipline. You see, young people they have the highest rate of indiscipline. The time you are most rebellious in your lifetime, or the time you'll be most rebellious in your lifetime, is the time you were a youth. Because of energy. There's something I call energy distraction. You get to do a lot of things not because you have to do them, but because you have the energy to do a lot of things. And because you have that energy, you feel like, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this, I should do that. No. You are not called to do everything. You are not carved to do everything. If you look at yourself very well, you notice you have just one head. It means you are only called to do just one thing. And that's why you are doing just one head. The distraction comes when you think because you have 10 fingers, maybe you are called to do 10 things. No. It is just one head. But in that one head, there are stuff that are true. You have 2 eyes, you have 2 ears, you have teeth, 2 nostrils, but 1 mouth. So you are not to be distracted by the subtopic of your topical life. You are not to be distracted by those things inside everything. It's a box of chocolate, right? A box of chocolate. Not a chocolate of boxes. So everything is chocolate. But they are not 1, not 2, not 3, as many as possible. But they are all contained in a box. That's how our life is. But there is certain energy that distracts you. When it is not properly taken care of, when you refuse to curtail it, when you refuse to, maximize it, it becomes a distraction. Before I go too far, let me quickly tell you what I call glory. Glory is an acronym, and this is what it means. Glory is this: G for God, L for love, O for hour, R for responsible, and Y for youth. God loves our responsible youth. There is no glory outside youthfulness. Did you hear that? There is no glory outside youthfulness. And again, there is no glory without responsibility. You cannot earn the love of God when you refuse to be responsible as a youth. Youthful time is the time you have to remember God to make Him happy. Youthful time is the time you have to remember the purpose that God has given you to make Him happy. If you love God, you will do what He asks you to do. What did God ask you to do? That was what He designed you for. That was what He created you for. He created you in His likeness and His image, that you can do exactly like He is. You are an extension of the creative power of God. You are a creator. You are a designer. You are a builder. You have to do new things. You have to bring forth new things. There are certain things that are not permitted to be completed without you. There are certain things that are not permitted to happen without you. That is your place in God. When you do these things, God loves you. And when you are doing these things, it means you are responsible. And who are the only people that can do the will of God? Listen, they are the young people. And by being young, I mean being young, youthful. God told a man, hey man, you are too old. This was the same man that said, God, you know what? I can still do this. 40 years ago, you promised us this. And it looks like everybody is tired now. But you see, me, I am not tired. I can do this. It got to a time, God told this man, you are now too old. You are old. God does not contract or give His work to old people to do. And by being old, it is not a function of age. It's a function of your youthfulness. When you stop being useful, you stop being youthful. And you are old. God loves our responsible youth. That is glory. So don't look for that paparazzi if you are not going to be responsible. Look at it. Look at the year. Look at the year. You know, the year has been interesting. Yet, in all of the ups and downs, there are lots of stars still shining. You know why? Because they chose to be responsible. What does this mean to be responsible? What does it mean to be responsible? You know, responsibility is you answering your name. I remember those days while we were in primary school, our class teacher, when, you know, he or she wants to take our attendance, she calls our name. Janet, Peter, present, sir. Peter Rock, present, sir. You know, when your name is called, you must answer. If you don't answer, it means you are not present for that day. And what that means is, if they want to do anything for everybody, they check the register. Those that have not, you know, been punctual in school, that have not been present in school, most likely will be eluded when things are coming. Good stuff are coming. So responsibility is what? You responding to your name. A lot of names will be called. But if you answer to another person's name and not your name, you will still be marked absent. Did you hear that? You will still be marked absent if you respond to another person's name and not your name. You will not be judged for being another person. You will be judged for being you. And what a terrible mistake when you came to the world. and you never for one day was yourself. You never even discovered you, let alone becoming you. You are going to be marked absent if you answer for someone else. That's the truth. Your name is not on the register. Your name is on the register. You were called, you did not answer, but someone else's name, fascinated you, sounded cool to you, and you felt like, oh, why did they not name me this? Why is my name not Jackson? Why is my name Jinodu? And you say, okay, I think I need to answer to Jackson. And when they call Jinodu, I'll be silent because I am protesting why they gave me that name. Hey, listen. Your register will mark absent. And you know what that means? You never came to this world. You were not born to do everything. You were not born to answer everybody's name, but your name. Doing that one thing you were born to do is called responsibility. If you do everything that you are not asked to do, you are sweating. Everybody can see that you are sweating. Are you listening? Everybody can see that you are working. But as a matter of fact, it is outside your job description. Hey, you will not be paid for it. You will not be given award for doing what is outside your job description. Your primary assignment is to do first what is in your job description. Nothing stops you from helping others, but you must do first what is your job description. So responsibility is you doing that one thing you are born to do. If you do not do that one thing you are born to do, you are irresponsible. You are capitally irresponsible. It does not matter how long you live. Even older than Methuselah. It does not matter how long you work. The number of sleepless nights you have or you had doing what you are not asked to do, you are irresponsible. Irresponsibility in discipline is peculiar to young people. And that's why those ones that are responsible are loved by God and man. The ones that are that are responsible, they are loved by God and man. Responsibility. Being disciplined enough to be responsible attracts people to you. It makes people to love you. After God Himself, who created you to do that one thing, expresses His love in all dimensions to you. We love people for their responsibility. Have you not noticed? Why I love Anthony Joshua is because he's a good athlete, a good boxer. There are a lot of boxers that I don't know. You know why I don't know them? Because they are not as good as they should be. They are not as responsible as they should be. Maybe not for now. But the ones that are already responsible, the world has a system of celebrating discipline and responsibility. It is called glory. Glory is praise, glory is honor, glory is distinction, extended by common consent. See, when it is glorious, everybody cannot, no one can deny it. Everybody will consent to it. That is glory. It is praise, it is honor that is extended by common consent. That no matter how pessimistic you are, when you see a light, You acknowledge that it is a light. You will not say there is no light yet. You cannot mistake light for darkness, no matter how wayward your thinking is. That is glory. It's the height of prosperity or achievement. It is the description of God's presence when it's manifested to humanity. Glory is the system that appreciates the responsibility of youthfulness. If you are not youthful, you are not useful. If you are not useful, you are not youthful. And if you are not responsible. Hence, you cannot be glorified. No gratification for you. Those that are responsible, glory. Those that are responsible, they glory. It's their right. It's a consequence of being responsible. You can't achieve your full self without discipline, without being responsible. You need to be responsible for you to achieve your full self. I said glory is realizing your full self. And that is why they call it glorious exit when people die. In real sense, you should not die if you have not realized your full self. When you have realized your full self, then when you die, they say you have a glorious exit. Do you really want your exit to be glorious? Then you have to be useful as long as you are alive. It is not a function of the age. You have to be youthful and useful as long as you are alive. What is the parameter or the litmus test that tells whether you are youthful or unuseful? Is your responsibility. So that one thing you are created for. What are you created for? That one thing that you are created for is your usefulness. You are not created to do all things. You have the power to do anything you want to do. And that's why young people, like I said, they are the most indisciplined. Not that they do wrong stuff as such, but they do not what they are supposed to do and do so much what they are not supposed to do. That is indiscipline. When you are spending the money of Indomie for spaghetti, it is indiscipline. You don't get glory by pursuing glory. You get it by focusing on becoming responsible. Did you hear that? You don't get glory by pursuing glory. You see what is happening now? Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to trend. Everybody wants to go viral. So they do a lot of things, sort of different stupid things to become famous. But the thing is, if you are famous without glory, it is just like a flame rather. And you will be lame to get to that stage. Glory is the height of responsibility. So don't pursue glory. Glory cannot be pursued. If you pursue glory, you will get shame. Shame will catch up with you when you pursue glory. But when you focus on being responsible, glory will come to you as a reward. Becoming responsible. See, this year you were taught one big thing, but I noticed that a lot of us are already losing touch of the lessons that this year taught us. A lot of us are already, getting our hands off the substance that this year delivered to us. One big thing this year taught us is everything is not necessary. They may look important, but they are not necessary. Did you not realize that we were able to do some things in the period of the lockdown without some people, without some processes, without some actions, without some tasks? And that was why a lot of people were stopped from work. Not because things were that bad, but they only figured out that these people were not actually needed for this process to happen. So why in the first place keep them? The same thing to our lives. Everything is not necessary. They may appear important, but I mean to the fulfillment of that vision, of that goal, of that purpose. You don't need everything. So what are those critical things, those things that are along the critical path? Those things that you cannot do without. Those things that the final day and the start day, when you deduct them, they are equal to 0. You don't have any slack. No slack. No freedom, no time to gallivant. If you don't do them through this path, you cannot get them done again. They are on the critical path. They are very, very important. Critical. I mean critical. Critical. And if you don't do them, if you don't do them, I say, if you don't do them, you will not be glorious. Yes, it looks like we have not learned our lesson. The low touch. You don't need so many touch for things to happen. And what are those? The touches you need for things to happen are the necessary touch. So go for the necessary. Not the popular. Not the every. But that one thing. Yes, you are still reading books that are not necessary. You are still listening to news that are not important. You are still going to places that you don't need to go to. You are still eating food that are not necessary. You are still seeing TV programs that are not impacting your life positively. I think we should learn our lesson. Take your roots downward and bear fruit upward. You don't get glory by pursuing it. You get glory by focusing on becoming responsible. Then how do you become responsible? Every glory has a story. The story of your glory is how you become responsible. Every glory has a story. So what is the story of becoming glorious? What is the story of your glory? That is becoming responsible. There are 4 Ds, 4 dimensions, cardinals to becoming responsible. The first one is discover that one thing that you are called and carved out for. That thing that God was pregnant of you about. That's one thing that God saw and allowed you to be the sperm that fertilized the head. That's one thing that made the thought of being aborted not to come to the mother that carried you. That's one thing that despite the attempt to abort you, that womb did not release you. That's one thing that made you to be different even from the 4th week in the womb. You have a different fingerprint that no one before and coming after you will have. You have an arrangement in your DNA that does not look like any other person's own, just you. That's one thing that made God to spare you, that made God to allow you to exist. Discover that one thing. Now, I'm going through the 4 Gs of becoming responsible. The story of glory. The second G now is detach yourself from every other thing. When you discover that one thing, please, honorably, detach yourself from every other thing. One thing versus every other thing. Detach yourself from every other thing. You are given power to do all things, but you are not expected to do all things because you are not God. Don't kill yourself. We'll still talk about, being the distractions of the activities of becoming who you are meant to be. A lot of times, people don't know how to crystallize or put in concentric order the prints around their destiny. You are a book with many pages. Each of those pages should not stand to you like your purpose. That is the matter. So a lot of times people don't know that, okay, this is a chapter of my life, preparing me for the next chapter of my life in the book called my life. There are different pages, many pages in a book called my life. But you should not jump out of that book in a bid to feel like I think I can do this, I can do that. You cannot be the best actor in another person's script. Where you can be the best actor is the script written for you. Detach yourself from every other thing after you have discovered that one thing you are called out for. The third D now is design your glory. God has given you that deposit of glory, but God will not plan it for you. You need to do what? Design your glory. One of those things that happened in the Vision Board Conference is training you to be able to hear the DNA of sound. A lot of times we are too busy talking, too busy listening to the wrong people, that we don't hear the right things that are needed for us as design tools. When you want to grasp that vision, it's not everything that you hear that you should write. It's not everything that comes to your mind that you should listen to. But it's not a natural knowledge. You can learn it. You can, sharpen the skill. One of those things you miss at the Vision Board Conference. However, we are still, planning another edition for as many as possible people that want to maximize their life. When you refuse to maximize your life, you minimize your life. There are no two ways to it. It's either you maximize your life or you minimize your life. And when you minimize your life, you know what that means. You're like a dot in the sky. Design your glory. Design your glory. Design is intelligence made visible. That is the definition of design. That's one of the best definitions of design that I have come across in my life. Intelligence made visible. Everything you have known about yourself, that thing that you have discovered about yourself, design a way to making it happen. And the last D there, the fourth D there is do it. Yes, you have discovered it. You have detached yourself from those things that are not needed. You have now designed it. Why not do it? Do your glory. Your glory is not in mere words. Your glory is not in writing. Your glory is not, in action. It is in your doing. Doing. When you don't do it, you don't get it. Your glory, no matter how lofty it is, no matter how amazing it is, if you don't do it, you cannot realize it. You have to do it. So, do it. The four dimensions of becoming responsible is, first of all, discover. Detach yourself and design the glory. And until you do it, all the first three dimensions are a waste. Is glory only for youth? Yes. Glory is only for youth because glory needs strength. You cannot do your glory without strength. Glory is energetic. See, energy, light is an energy. It's a form of energy. Light is a form of energy. Darkness is not any form of energy. And that's why, you see, darkness cannot stop you. Only when you allow it. And what happens when darkness stops you? What happens when darkness stops you is that you did not allow your life to come alive. That is what happens when darkness stops you. So light is an energy, a distinct energy. You need energy to fulfill glory. You need energy to do glory. And that is why you have to be youthful. You have to be young to be glorious. Don't waste your youthful age. You are going to be old many times, but you are only going to be young once. You have been old since the day they gave birth to you, but you are only going to be young once. Youthfulness determines your youthfulness. When you stop being youthful, you stop being youthful. And hence, you become useless. Your glory becomes story. When you take action, listen, you turn your story to glory. But when you refuse to take action, your glory becomes story. Youthful time. You cannot be young twice. Anything that happens in your youthful time happens to your life and in your life. But in the old time, it is either for or against you. Those things that happened in your old time, they are, repercussion of those things that happened in your life and to your life. When you are in your youthful time, things will happen in your life and to your life. But when you are in your old time, things now happen for your life or against your life. What's your choice? Listen, let no man despise your youth. Be responsible. And by being responsible, it means that be an example of the one loved by God. In your words, in your conversation, in love, in spirit, faith, and purity. You were not born for everything, listen. You were born to do just one thing. And when you do that thing, you are termed to be responsible. When you are responsible, then you are eligible for glory. When you refuse to take action, your glory becomes story. But when you take action, your glory becomes story. Won't you take action? It's good to have you again. It's another wonderful time, an opportunity intelligence today. I want you to get back to me. Let me know how you feel today. Let's know how we're going to get along and get the best out of our youthful time. It's amazing time with you. Thank you so much. Good to have you. Thank you.